seconds. Singleton touches down. Machine so fast. This isn't going to go too long. We're already in round one. The referee humanely has seen enough.
The man stared at his opponent with cold contempt. His uppercut, fierce enough to tear through the air, was about to end this fight. But he knew all too well that every second before the bell rang was a life-and-death battle against the fear within. And both the glory and the ruin of his life began there. His name was Tyson. In the heavyweight division, a jungle ruled by height and reach, his 1.78-meter frame should have made him the prey. But with an uncanny style known as the peekaboo weave, he shattered the iron laws of physics and rose from the hell of the slums to unify boxing's three major sanctioning bodies and become an unrepeatable legend. The story begins in 1966, in Brooklyn, New York, in an urban underworld soaked in drugs and gunfire. Tyson seemed destined to die in the streets or rot in prison. A map navigation to Dali Tongzhou Lake scenic area. Robbery was part of his daily life, and his fists were his only means of survival, until one brutal street brawl sent him to juvenile detention. And in that instant, the gears of fate thundered into motion. There, a trainer recognized the beast-like gift inside him. His thick neck gave him elite punch resistance, and his freakish explosiveness made him a human weapon forged by God. A letter of recommendation brought him before the legendary master D'Amato. At their first meeting, D'Amato had Tyson step into the ring for live sparring. By the second round, Tyson was already bruised and battered. He thought he would be thrown out, but D'Amato's eyes lit up with fervor. He saw a born human shock absorber, and some of the most explosive raw power in the world. With proper polish, he could become a Hall of Fame destroyer. Years on the streets had made Tyson deeply suspicious. He couldn't understand such sudden faith in him, but compared with cold prison bars, the boxing gym was the best refuge he could hope for. D'Amato's training philosophy was highly unorthodox. He wouldn't let Tyson work the heavy bag. Instead, he made him study footage of elite fights over and over, dissecting the psychological battle within them. He reshaped Tyson from the inside out, drilling into his emotions and mentality. The creed that the mind and will were stronger than the body. At just 13, Tyson couldn't fully grasp it, but he answered this brutal discipline with absolute self-control. Long runs at 6 a.m., technique drills all day, lights out at 9 p.m. After 2.5 years of hellish training, the restless street kid was stripped of his recklessness. In his place emerged a top assassin with savage, ruthless weapons. He needed to taste blood. In 1981, Tyson stepped into the amateur ring. Faced with a sanctioned bout, this street brawler was suddenly seized by fear, even trying to run before the fight. But the moment the bell rang, his killer instinct took over. Slipping low like a phantom, driving through with a violent hip twist, one crushing punch sent his opponent's mouthpiece flying into the crowd. His natural fighting ability was extraordinary, but mentally he was painfully fragile. D'Amato saw straight through that fatal weakness, and he began forging psychological armor around him. Before every fight, he forced the Tyrant's aura into Tyson, teaching him to freeze the whole arena with a cold, lethal stare. From then on, boxing had a new nightmare, a chilling, stone-faced executioner. No one knew that away from the spotlight, this beast could break down with alarming ease. At the Olympic trials, Tyson fell short twice and missed out on the national team, and by then, D'Amato, already in his 70s, was running out of time. Time had become their deadliest enemy, so they decisively abandoned the amateur path and stormed into the professional ranks ahead of schedule. On March 6, 1985, 18-year-old Tyson officially began his professional career. D'Amato carefully handpicked his opponents, paving a bloody road for him. His professional debut. In the first round, Tyson stopped his opponent with a vicious four-punch combination. Over the next year, he stormed through 15 fights. 14 of them ended in first-round knockouts. Freed from the headgear of the amateur ranks, his signature pendulum slip became the ultimate weapon. Slip low, fire the uppercut, rip the body, then the left hook, and finish upstairs in one fluid burst. The entire combination had become pure muscle memory. His opponents were on the canvas before they could even react. Just as Tyson was becoming a cold-blooded god of war, at the end of 1985, D'Amato died of pneumonia. Tyson lost the only anchor holding his spirit steady. Before his death, D'Amato entrusted him to his close friend, D'Amato's close friend Jacobs and his disciple Kevin Rooney. Shattered by grief, Tyson swore a blood oath to carry on his mentor's final wish, and tear through the entire heavyweight division. On November 23, 1986, Tyson stepped into the fight that would make him a legend, challenging WBC champion Trevor Berbick. Berbick counted on his height and reach advantage. Arrogantly, he chose to trade with Tyson head-on. It was the dumbest decision of his life. Tyson unleashed his signature pendulum head movement, slipped low to evade the attack, then drove a right uppercut into the ribs, followed by a left hook that crashed into the face like a sledgehammer. Then in the second round, a pinpoint right hand shattered Berbick's defenses, and Berbick crashed to the canvas. At just 20 years old, Tyson broke a century-old record, becoming the youngest heavyweight champion in history. He was unstoppable. In March 1987, he faced WBA champion Bonecrusher Smith. His opponent resorted to a clinch-and-drag war of attrition. Coach Rooney adjusted the strategy on the spot, telling Tyson to slow the pace and pick his openings. After 12 grueling rounds, Tyson won by a wide decision and claimed his second title belt. That August of his youth, he faced IBF champion Tony Tucker in the final battle to unify the division. Against the same kind of wear-down tactics, Tyson was fully prepared and cruised to another dominant decision win. In just 1 year, he collected the WBC, WBA, and IBF belts, becoming the first man in history to unify boxing's 3 major sanctioning bodies. But at the height of his glory came decline. In 1988, the trusted elder Jim Jacobs died, and Tyson lost the strategist behind him outside the ring. Promoter Don King seized the opening, exploiting the greed of Tyson's wife, sowing division and ultimately pushing Tyson to fire his mentor, Kevin Rooney. He lost his last tactical anchor and the one man who kept him emotionally steady. Once fully unshackled, Tyson began sliding into the abyss. He burned through money, drank heavily, abused drugs, and let his private life spin completely out of control. In 1991, the abyss swallowed everything. 3 years behind bars drained his soul. He became suspicious, paranoid, and volatile. After his release, his fortune was gone, and he was buried under tens of millions in debt. He had no choice but to return to the ring. By then, boxing was merely a way to survive. In 1996, the fated showdown began, as Tyson faced his nemesis, Evander Holyfield. Holyfield had long understood Tyson's mental fragility, and he resorted to dirty borderline tactics, tying him up relentlessly at close range, while repeatedly driving his head into the area around Tyson's eye. Tyson's rhythm was torn apart, and his emotions spiraled completely out of control. He lost the fight, and with it, his era. That fight sounded the death knell for his legendary career. In 2005, nearing 40, Tyson was beaten by a little-known opponent, and retired in sorrow. With a mortal frame, he shattered the supposedly unbreakable law of height and reach. He defied fate from the gutter, and honed the peek-boo pendulum to perfection, overturning a century of heavyweight convention. His iron fist crushed the fiercest challengers, yet could not break the shackles of desire. His head movements slipped past countless heavy blows, but not the arrows of fate. After Tyson, there was never another Tyson, that legend who conquered giants through sheer talent, only to be undone by his own inner weakness. That king will forever remain boxing's unrepeatable, blood-stained myth.